Alright, so it's time for another potato video, and I wanted to do two things in this video. We're gonna sort of go through the stored potatoes, the TPS lines from last season, from 2017, and kind of cull out the ones that didn't store well. And then I'm switching. I've had everything stored down in my cellar. We have an old house with sort of a stone foundation and a dirt floor cellar, which is the kind of cellar that people, used to habitually, store vegetables in. It's the old-fashioned storage cellar, but our house is a little bit better insulated than it was back in those days, and we keep the winter temperature a whole lot warmer on average, I think. So even though it's still a dirt floor cellar, it ends up being warmer and drier, and we don't run the furnace down there, but it ends up being warmer and drier than the cellar optimal for storage of potatoes. So, and at this point, a lot of these potatoes have started to sprout, and I wanted to kind of nip this sprouting in the bud because it's way too early to be planting potatoes here. And you really don't want your potatoes to be producing these long, white, spindly shoots like these are developing. And this variety in particular is one that I want to keep because this one right here was one of the Sarpo Mira mix lines. This was actually plant number 1, and it ended up being 3 pounds 7 ounces of harvesting. I harvested 3 pounds 7 ounces from one plant, which was really one of the best yields from, actually it was the best yield from the Sarpo Mira TPS seed. And so I really want to save this variety in particular, but you can see it's starting to sprout. So what I'm going to do is we're going to switch to what's called a diffuse light storage system, where I'm going to take all these potatoes and I'm going to basically like green sprout or chit them, very similar to what is classically called green sprouting or chitting, where you just hold the potatoes in reasonably bright light, and what they recommend for diffuse light storage. Now, and then I'm also culling out, like this one's been damaged, like this is the rose end, and there's some damage here. It's molding. You can see how wrinkly it is. I'm just gonna not keep this one. So I'm just trying to keep the sound potatoes and culling out any obviously weakened or damaged ones, or ones that have gotten really soft, and just keep the nice buds for planting. And so instead of, what I want to do when you keep them in the diffuse light or even in bright light, honestly, instead of growing these fat white spindly shoots that dry the potato out, they grow these. So this is a potato that I've had sitting on the kitchen windowsill for the past couple of months, and you can see the difference in the sprout. Like this is like an incredibly sturdy sprout. It's covered with buds. It's bright green, and this potato is incredibly sound. It's just slightly soft, but it's not shriveled. This is, if you planted this potato would launch. It would just start shooting out roots from all of this big main bud here, and it would grow extremely quickly. So this potato is actually in a great condition for planting. I'm not going to plant this potato because this was I think this was like a Kennebec or something like that. This is not a potato I kept for planting, but I set it aside because we were cooking, and then I noticed that this one was already slightly green, and so I put it on the windowsill, and it's just been sitting there randomly ever since for months, and you can see it's still in perfect condition. So this is what you get in diffuse light storage. So this one was Sarpo Mira Mix number 8, and it was 3 pounds. So these ones were like more flattened, and you can see the sprouts are not as extremely developed on this one, which is good. And the potatoes are more flattened. These ones were like sort of a buff with pink splotches. I really am excited about this potato too. I like the shape. Sarpo Mira Mix number 7. Only 1 pound of these guys, but they were beautiful. They were kind of like these bright, beautiful pink potatoes with really shallow eyes, just really perfect. So I'm going to give them a shot. So with this Tolocon TPS, I'm actually, since these are so small, a lot of them, this high yielder, I'm going to actually use one of these solid bottom trays for this. And try and, so what you want with the diffuse light storage is just to have all the potatoes getting, from what I've read, you want enough light where you can read comfortably. So the potatoes need to be getting like adequate task lighting, so to speak. And that will inhibit like the long rangy sprouts and promote the short fat sprouts, and will also inhibit like rapid loss of water. They'll very slowly dry out versus which is kind of what you want. Now if I recall, I'll cut open one of these sort of more withered ones on this high yielder because there's more than I need. Some of these are small, like very small. If they're small and unshriveled, I'll keep them because that's still way more energy than I don't want to, you want everything to be getting adequate amounts of light, so you don't want to bury anything underneath another spud. And I've got plenty of trays, so so this one got damaged. We can just, I'll cut it open and show you. So it's also a dark purple with the white ring around on the cortex. So the cortex is white, and then, you know, the center main body of the potato is a really nice dark purple. So yeah, got to give this one a shot, right? So this one's Sarpo Mira number 9. Sarpo Mira Mix. This one's kind of a pink skin. Let's see. This one's pretty shriveled. We can cut it open. Just a white flesh potato. Bright pink skin. Here you can see this potato actually got skinned when I was harvesting it. You can see the skin kind of peeled off, but this potato is sound, so it healed up well enough to like store perfectly. This is actually really firm, so that's cool. But whereas this one is super squishy, and that's because it's been losing all this water out of that sprout. And if you like this one, I'm gonna keep, but it's much softer. You really want to avoid allowing them to like lose all that moisture. So like these two potatoes right here, this one is much firmer than this one because it's been losing water out of these little sprouts. So you want to, if they start sprouting, you want to get them into this condition because this potato has lost much less water from this green sprout than they do from the white sprouts. So this is number 5. These ones are really pretty also. but they're sprouting a lot. They were beautifully shaped. Didn't see, cut one open. Still just white flesh. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, Tolokan number 8. This is another really high yielder. Try and keep the potatoes from falling through. So these are kind of chained up together. Tolokan does kind of crazy stuff like that. In my experience, that one's a little bit soft. Yellow. Sarpo number 3. £1 10 ounces. So these are purple skin, probably white flesh. Yeah, this one's shriveled. We can cut this one open. Probably white flesh. Yeah, purple and white. Tolokan number 6. 3 pounds 8 ounces, 3.5 pounds. Sort of rounded. This one, I lost a bunch of tubers of this one, unfortunately, because it set a bunch of tubers right up at the surface and they got frosted and ruined, so I had to throw a bunch out. But there's still quite a few here, and they actually have stored really well, which is good. But I'm kind of excited about this potato. It was a high yielder and an interesting plant. I mean, the Tolokan genetics seem to be really useful. They're also blight resistant. They've got a lot of blight resistance genes on average. But the plants are crazy. The plants are huge, and they send out really long stolons, so it's pretty clear to me why they don't use them commercially, because they would just not be fun to machine harvest. You would miss all kinds of potatoes. Tolokan number 10. One of the reasons you're seeing kind of the same lines over and over is some lines are more productive than others, you know. That is an ugly, well damaged potato. Yellow. Nice. Oh yeah, this one's interesting. This one's very different. This is from Tree Leaves Diploid Mix, number 8. 2 pounds 6 ounces. But these have sprouted a lot. You can see kind of crazy sprouting going on, because these are headed in the direction of the kind of potatoes I want to breed for. Kind of want to breed dormancy into potatoes like this, you know, because they're really delicious. Really delicious. It's almost a different experience eating a potato like these. They're fantastic. And these ones are also super bright yellow inside, I can tell. Oh no, this one was moldy. let me cut open a different one, be able to tell a little better. Yeah, that's Papa Amarilla. Or is it one of those yellow Tolocon? See, like this is a yellow flesh Tolocon, and this is Papa Amarilla. That's bright gold, pretty awesome. Interesting. I just want to try and get dormancy into those guys. It's another one from Tree Leaves. These ones are from her special favorites mix from the 2016 to 17 Kenosha Potato Project seed train. These ones are red fleshed. I'll cut one open for you. So these are pretty cool. I have no idea. These were in a mixed seed pack. Yeah, so these seem to have stored really well. Short sprouts. They're still firm, even though they're sprouting. I think we can totally bring these back. Yeah, I can open one of these up. I guess you'd call them more of a pink flesh than a red flesh. It's in the pink vascular ring. Some of them were redder than that. Maybe these little ones. Anyway, definitely pink on the inside. Pretty cool. 1 pound, 12 ounces. This is Sarpo Mira mix number 5. These ones are just sort of a buff skin with kind of deep eyes compared to most of the other Sarpos that I grew out. Sarpo Mira is a pink skinned potato. Tree Leaf Special Favorites mix number 6. 1 pound, 15 ounces. These ones were big. That's a pretty big potato coming off of out of a seed. Although I think William Whitson makes some really good points about, and one thing I also will say is they have not sprouted at all. That one is a little bit damaged. A little bit of a lumpy, looks like they're tending towards a lumpy shape. Let's see what they look like inside. This one was damaged. White flesh, you can see the rot. So that was no good to be planting that one anyway. Bright pink skin, bright pink magenta, more of a magenta skin. So that one's kind of interesting, and these are big. It looks like it likes to grow a few large potatoes. Special Favorites number 2. This one I wrote big pink. 2 pounds, 2 ounces. That one's gonna fall through. Have any color. Nope, just a white flesh. Another big potato. And then the only other thing I have is this is sort of a potato line that I've been running for 2 years now. This is kept this one from 2016. This is Shetland Black number 4. But like a lot of progeny from Shetland Black, it's got the very prominent vascular ring that's the same color as the skin, which is what Shetland Black does. It's black skin with a blue purple vascular ring. Okay, so that's most of the potatoes I'm gonna keep. I kind of culled out, honestly, most of the diploids did not make the cut just because they shriveled in storage in the cellar. So, although you did see, you know, that one, you know, bright yellow diploid, which I'm gonna try and keep alive. So yeah, now we can sort of like talk about the diffuse light storage system. Okay, so here we are upstairs with everything laid out in what I would call a pretty decent diffuse light storage situation. This is kind of our spare bedroom storage room, and we've got sort of an east facing window there and a north facing window there, and during the day just the ambient light from the windows is going to be perfect, I would say, for greening these up and keeping them in good planting condition. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. This is kind of a jury rig, and it also gives me a chance to sort of see the various clones and compare them. And you know, one thing that jumps out is the Sarpo mix clones are much more sprouted than the Tolocon and the Tree Leaf Special Favorite clones, all in all. And like that Shetland Black, so that tells me that as nice as the Sarpo clones are, they don't store quite as well as in general. I think every single Sarpo that I've got is sprouting. These two are probably the best, this one being absolutely the best in terms of still being dormant. But like this right here, this Tolocon number 11 is barely got any serious sprouting on it, and I am trying to see, I would say this is probably my most sprouted Tolocon. So that's not bad, really. Well, maybe this one is, but I think we caught it in time. Maybe a couple of potatoes, like, you know, that one there, that may be too sprouted and it might shrivel up before planting time, but I think on average we caught these before the point of no return. Diffuse light storage is more or less the same as chitting or green sprouting. The only big difference is this is considered a storage mechanism rather just than a pre-planting preparation step. Even though you're doing exactly the same thing, the concept is you can actually store these potatoes in the diffuse light kind of indefinitely for very long periods, for months at a time, and they will sit greened up waiting to be planted. And so it's a really great way to like hold potatoes through the end of the storage season until planting time. And that's why I've switched mine into this diffuse light system, because we are weeks and weeks and weeks away from good planting potato planting weather, and I need these to be maintain good condition. So yeah, hopefully this makes sense to everybody, and hopefully it will be useful to you guys. So thanks a lot for watching.